Why make a video about my own political views? The easy answer would be, even though I may alienate a large percentage of the population, I would probably form a stronger bond with the other side if they agreed with me, and that may be a net positive to me. But I'm in a situation where I really don't agree with either side right now. And thus, if I open my mouth long enough, eventually I'll probably find something that you disagree with. So why make a video in a situation like that? Well, I think the political discourse in America has gotten to the point where it is more important for the other side to be wrong than it is to resolve the issue you're arguing about. And the only way that we're going to start resolving those issues is to stop looking at the other side as the opponents and start seeing them as part of the solution, right? So what I'd like to do is kind of quickly go over my political framework, the way I look at the world. I'm not going to go over any specific issues, but it should give people who watch the channel or clients or prospective clients a kind of understanding of where I'm coming from. So the first one is freedom. What should you have the freedom to do? Although I'm not a libertarian, I generally go along the lines of the libertarian view when it comes to this, which is pretty simply put, I don't care what you do as long as it doesn't affect me. The role of government is not to protect you from yourself. The role of government is to protect society from you. Of course, the rub is, what do we need to protect society from? My answer from that is it has to be some direct impact on society. If it's simply you don't want your kids exposed to that, or you don't want some particular culture in your society, that is not a good enough reason to prevent someone from having freedom, something along those lines. The next thing I want to address is expertise. Specifically, we're going to talk about science, but this could be considered expertise in any area. We live in a world where if you want to convince yourself of anything, you can do so. If you want to be convinced that the world is flat, you can get online and convince yourself of that. But the problem with self-education is that you have to learn more than you want to really understand things, right? And the scientific process ensures that. I seem to hear from both sides, although this is generally, kind of more a conservative view, but the progressive view is certainly not, or not without fault here. I hear this sense of that, well, because science doesn't have it all figured out, and they've been wrong in the past, and their current theories aren't finished now, that we shouldn't trust them, and if they're possibly wrong, then my views could be just as wrong or right. This is the most absurd thing I've ever heard. Look, science has always been wrong. It is currently wrong, and as far as we know, for the very far future, it will continue to be wrong. And yet, everything in our society, from the technology delivering this video to you to virtually everything in your life, was all built on flawed science, on incorrect science, on theories that were eventually proven wrong and updated in science moved forward. So to now stand in this incredibly technologically sophisticated world and say, I'm not going to believe what the prevailing experts believe because they've been wrong in the past, is just absurd. So now if obviously I base my worldview on a lot of empirical evidence in the scientific process. So when I move that over to the social sciences, like this channel typically does, talking about economics, I follow the same process, which is, what are the experts who have really put time into this saying? And we have done a shocking amount of research on economics in the last 40 years, since it really started to get some major levels of funding. And there are a few, not many, that economists do agree on, right? And the first is that the free market is the only thing that works. You may want to convince me of some type of socialist utopia future, but we've never seen it work, right? So the free market, which you may associate with capitalism or not, is the best system for human advancement and to bring affluence to a large number of people. But that free market can only exist on a foundation of a strong, influential government, and that there are very important things that government needs to regulate about the free market that are incredibly important. They should play as light a hand as possible, but they do need to play a role. So then the question comes, If the government needs to play a role in the economy, then where is the biggest bang for their buck? If they're trying to nudge the economy forward and get that to do better, where is it should they be focusing their efforts? And the answer is human capital at those people that are most disadvantaged in the system. Human capital being education, resources, giving them more opportunity for those people that the free market has moved past because of globalization, urbanization, or whatever it is. Focus your effort on those people that are most disadvantaged. This idea of like Reaganomics, supply side, trickle down, we have just seen for 40 years that it just doesn't work. Even conservative economists, will not stand up and be spouting this stuff anymore. So the government should be focusing their efforts on those that are most disadvantaged in the economy. And that is not because we just want to be altruistic people and help those that are disadvantaged, because it is the best thing for the economy to get it to grow and move on. All right, I'm going to conclude with just kind of my views of the two parties. My problem with the Republican Party is that their platform seems to be obstructionism. Even though they don't agree that America is where it should be, I do not hear from them what they plan on doing about it to get it where it should be. All I hear is how they want to stop the Democrats from doing whatever it is they want to do. So if the Republicans could come to me with a clear message as to what they think needs to be done to fix the many problems that we have in America, I'd be willing to listen. I just aren't hearing it. The Democrats have almost the opposite problem, which they have this laundry list of things that they're trying to fix. And there's a few problems with it. I don't think they prioritize it well. Look, I understand it's really hard to tell someone, look, you're not on the list of priorities anymore. But because they have so many things that are so all over the place, the Republicans control the narrative about what the Democrats care about because they can always point to one of these other little things. So I really don't have a problem with the direction the Democrats are trying to go. They just seem to be inept at getting there, right? So, and when you only have two parties, if you have one that's just trying to prevent the other one from doing something, and that other one seems to be inept at doing it, it makes you feel like you don't have a good choice. All right, I kind of started this by saying we're in a place where it's more important that the other side is wrong than we fix the problem. That's because we have gotten down to such a divisive set of issues in America that we're trying to resolve. If you've watched my other videos, that's because they're arguing about different things, right? Republicans are arguing that the southern border is a disaster. The Democrats are arguing that there needs to be a way for people to come to the country and work or seek political asylum or live here or whatever it is. Those are two separate arguments. They're not arguing about the same thing. And the parties have taken the strategy of it is easier to get new people to show up to vote than it is to change anybody's mind. So the idea is we outrage whoever it is about something that they're angry about so that we make sure that they show up to vote instead of having any type of a dialogue across that. I unfortunately do not have a solution to that issue, but I don't think it's going to be any better if we don't start talking about it. All right. I'm sure there is one thing here that one question that everyone would want to know when you're talking about political views. That is, do I support Donald Trump or not? I'm not going to go into it in detail, but I will give you an answer. I do not support Donald Trump. I hope this has been informative. I will talk to you soon. Thank you.